The Giant Architect. Notwithstanding their wonderful bridge Bifrost, the tremulous way, and the watchfulness of Heimdall, the gods could not feel entirely secure in Asgard, and were too often fearful lest the frost giants should make their way into Asgard. To obviate this possibility, they finally decided to build an impregnable fortress. And while they were planning how this could be done, an unknown architect came to offer to undertake the construction, provided that the gods would give him sun, moon, and Freya, goddess of youth and beauty, as a reward. The gods were wroth at so presumptuous an offer, but when they would have indignantly driven the stranger from their presence, Loki urged them to make a bargain, which it would be impossible for the stranger to keep. And so they finally told the architect that the Geirdun should be his, provided the fortress were finished in the course of a single winter, and that he accomplished the work with no other assistance than that of his horse, Svaldafare. To Asgard came an architect, and castle offered to erect, a castle high which should defy deep Jotun guile and giant raid, and this most wily compact made, fair Freya with the moon and sun, as price for the fortress being done. Valhalla by J.C. Jones. The unknown architect agreed to these seemingly impossible conditions, and immediately set to work, hauling ponderous blocks of stone by night, building during the day, and progressing so rapidly that the gods began to feel somewhat anxious. Ere long they noticed that more than half the labor was accomplished by the wonderful steed Svaldafare, and when they saw, near the end of winter, that the work was finished save only one portal, which they knew the architect could easily erect during the night, horror and fear the gods beset. Finished almost the castle stood. In 3 days more the work be o'er, and must they make their contract good, and pay the awful debt. Valhalla by J.C. Jones. Terrified lest they should be called upon to part, not only with the sun and the moon, but also with Freya, the personification of the youth and beauty of the world, the gods turned upon Loki and threatened to kill him unless he devised some means of hindering the architect from finishing the work within the specified time. Loki's cunning proved once more equal to the situation. He waited until nightfall of the final day, when, as Svaldafare passed the fringe of the forest, painfully dragging one of the great blocks of stone required for the termination of the work, he rushed out from a dark glade in the guise of a mare, and neighed so invitingly that, in a trice, the horse kicked himself free of his harness and ran after the mare, closely pursued by his angry master. The mare galloped swiftly on, artfully luring horse and master deeper and deeper into the forest shades, until the night was nearly gone, and it was no longer possible to finish the work. The architect was none other than a redoubtable Hrimthurs in disguise, and he now returned to Asgard in a towering rage at the fraud which had been practiced upon him. Assuming his wonted proportions, he would have annihilated the gods, had not Thor suddenly returned from a journey and slain him with his magic hammer Mjolnir, which he hurled with terrific force full in his face. The gods had saved themselves on this occasion only by fraud and by the violent deed of Thor, and these were destined to bring great sorrow upon them, and eventually to secure their downfall, and to hasten the coming of Ragnarok. Loki, however, felt no remorse for his part, and in due time, it is said, he became the parent of an 8-footed steed called Sleipnir, which, as we have seen, was Odin's favorite mount. But Sleipnir he begat with Svaldafare. Lay of Hyndla, Thorpe's translation. Loki performed so many evil deeds during his career that he richly deserved the title of Arch-Deceiver, which was given him. He was generally hated for his subtle malicious ways, and for an inveterate habit of prevarication, which won him also the title of Prince of Lies. So that was The Giant Architect, the 5th section of Chapter 22 of Myths of the Norsemen by Helene A Guerber, Loki. I will be working my way through this book section by section, and if there are any other public domain books you would like for me to read, please leave a comment below. Did you enjoy this video? Then subscribe for more, and be sure to check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. Thank you for listening, and have a lovely evening.